morning and welcome into your Wednesday edition of Hoops Talk with Dave. I'm your host, Dave Smith. Thanks for joining us here. We've got postseason college basketball. We've got top 25 matchups in college basketball. We got some great NBA action, all that to recap, as well as preview right here on Hoops Talk with Dave. Starting last night in the SEC in College Station, Texas. Number 22, Texas A&M playing host to Auburn. The Aggies have not been playing great basketball, but nonetheless, this is what makes March great. They come out and they beat the Auburn Tigers, the number one ranked, seemingly indefeatable Auburn Tigers, 83-72. And to this point in the season, the Tigers only lost to the two of the top six teams in the country. They only lost to Duke and they only lost to Florida. And so now they have dropped to the number 22 ranked Aggies. Of course, it is on the road. No, that is not going to damage their position for a 1 seed. It's probably not even going to hurt their position for the number 1 overall seed. They had a buffer there. And as far as the top 25 goes, I'll still be ranking them number 1 next week as long as they can win on Saturday. But a massive win for Texas A&M to right the ship. Once again, the Aggies beat the Tigers 83-72. In our other top 25 matchup, talk about a classic here. BYU on the road at Iowa State. With just over 13 minutes to go in the game, BYU led by 21 points. That's right, 21 points. They led 54-33, but the Cyclones came roaring all the way back. They forced overtime. This game went to double overtime, but nonetheless, the Cougars able to power through. 23 points from Richie Saunders to give BYU the victory in Ames, Iowa. 88-85 over number 10 ranked Iowa State in double overtime. That's BYU's 7th straight victory. They were on the wrong side of the bubble 4 weeks ago. Now they are sitting very, very good, in great position here, looking at potentially a 6 or even a 7 seed there. It's incredible to watch from the BYU Cougars. What a great win on the road there for them. Other top 25 teams in action, these teams taking care of business. Kentucky at home against LSU, winning 95-64. Arizona at home against Arizona State, winning 113-100. Talk about an offensive show there. Late night, old-time Pac-12 action. Arizona winning 113-100. Purdue playing host to Rutgers. They win 100-71. And Memphis, a little bit too close for comfort there on the road at UTSA. The Roadrunners had a chance to take the lead late, unable to do so. Memphis wins 75-70. And a ranked team losing last night, the Mississippi State Bulldogs playing host to the Texas Longhorns, and Texas needed this win bad, and they got it. They win 87-82 in overtime in Starkville. Tremont Mark, 24 points. Trey Johnson, 23 points. Incredible showing from both of them. Mississippi State had an opportunity to take the lead in overtime. A couple of free throws at the line, unable to do so. The Longhorns win 87-82 over the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And this has not hurt their tournament position very much. If you're Mississippi State, you can pretty much kiss the opportunity at a 6 seed goodbye, but potentially a 7 or 8 seed, which is pretty much where we thought this team would line up. A couple of other bubble teams getting some big-time wins. Georgia on the road at South Carolina. The Gamecocks were favored in this one. The Bulldogs go on the road, win 73-64 over South Carolina. Arkansas on the road at Vanderbilt, coming off a bad defeat. I mean, they got the crap beat out of them against South Carolina. Arkansas able to bounce back in Nashville, defeat Vanderbilt 90-77. North Carolina keeping their bubble hopes alive, destroying Virginia Tech at home in Blacksburg, Virginia, winning 91-59. The Tar Heels, they are rolling now. They'll need to beat Duke on Saturday to have themselves a real shot at an NCAA tournament bid at large. Baylor at TCU, both of these teams basically kind of playing a de facto elimination game. I'll say that. I think Baylor is in much better shape than TCU was. But Baylor won this one, knocking out TCU. If Baylor would have lost, it would not have surprised me to see them find themselves on the wrong side of the bubble. But they get the victory. They win 61-58 over the TCU Horned Frogs. Another de facto elimination game here, Nebraska against Ohio State. And what a game this was. This was incredible. If you were staying up late watching this one, you got rewarded. Ohio State playing host to Nebraska. The Buckeyes winning over the Cornhuskers 116-114 in double overtime. Talk about an NBA type of score there. What a great showing. Ohio State up by 6 at half. Nebraska winning the second half by 6, scoring 50 points in the second half. But the Buckeyes pull away late in double overtime, winning 116-114. Over in the NBA late last night in L.A., the Pelicans on the road at the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers winning this one 136-115. I'm sure the highlight you've seen on your timeline was Zion Williamson putting Trey Jamison on a poster. Great to see Zion in great form there. His effort was not enough there for the Pelicans. Lakers win by 21, 136-115. Phoenix playing host to L.A. The Suns able to take down the Clippers. Great showing here from Phoenix. They have been trending in the wrong direction in plenty of areas, hoping to get back on track there, hoping to keep the drama off the court surrounding Kevin Durant. They were able to do so last night, winning 119-117. The Pacers playing host to the Rockets, winning 115-102. The Bucks traveling to Atlanta. They take down the Hawks 127-121. And looking at tonight's slate in the NBA, a doubleheader on ESPN starting in Cleveland. Miami, the Heat on the road to take on the Cavaliers. Cleveland, an 11.5-point favorite. Tip-off at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. And the Thunder on the road at the Memphis Grizzlies. OKC, an 8.5-point road favorite over Memphis. Tip-off, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. And the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Milwaukee Bucks here. Milwaukee, a 10.5-point favorite. But the reason I bring this up is because I want to apologize to Mavericks fans. I am sorry for the time that you are going through right now. They traded Luka. AD got hurt in his first game in a Mavericks uniform, and now Kyrie Irving has torn his ACL. He is out for the rest of the year and will probably be out for a solid portion of next year. I understand your anger and your frustration, Mavericks fans, but it is probably going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately for you. This game at 8 p.m. on NBA League Pass. And your NBA League Pass game of the night, why don't we go to Charlotte for this one? Timberwolves on the road at the Charlotte Hornets. I love watching this Hornets team play. They don't win a lot, but they're fun to watch play basketball. Minnesota, an 8.5-point road favorite. Tip-off for this one at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern on NBA League Pass. And let's get into a few college basketball games tonight on the slate. In Tuscaloosa, number 7 Alabama playing host to number 5 Florida. Your game of the night here on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. The Crimson Tide, a 2.5-point favorite over the Gators. That is going to be a ton of fun to watch. Our other top 25 matchup comes to you on the Big Ten Network at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Maryland on the road at Michigan. Michigan needs this one. They need to beat Maryland at home. Their 1.5-point home favorites should be a terrific one. That one on Big Ten Network. Also on Big Ten Network at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, just after the Michigan-Maryland game. Wisconsin on the road at Minnesota. This Minnesota team has gotten better as the season goes on. Excited to see them take on a Wisconsin team at home. The Badgers, nonetheless, a 7.5-point road favorite. Tip-off for that one once again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. Also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1, Marquette taking on UConn in some Big East action. The Huskies, 3.5-point home favorites over the Marquette Golden Eagles. Tip-off once again 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And the Oklahoma Sooners playing for their bubble lives here, playing host to Missouri. They need this one. They need to win this one to be able to set up a great showdown between Texas and Oklahoma on Saturday. Missouri, a 4.5-point road favorite in this one. Tip-off at 8 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. And to wrap things up today, we've got a ton of great conference tournament action. The Sun Belt Conference in action. The Ohio Valley Conference in action. The Northeast Conference in action. The Big South in action. The Summit League in action. Tons of great college basketball tonight across there. Lots of teams having their seasons ended, and there were a ton of fun mid-major games last night inside conference tournaments. You have got to check out some of these games. They are incredible. Most of them are aired on ESPN Plus, if not somewhere similar to that, some other streaming service, maybe Flow Hoops. But if you've got ESPN Plus, you can find some great conference tournament action. I recommend checking all of those out because they are a ton of fun to watch. Of course, I'll keep you updated on all the results as well as my bracket predictions for the 4 conference tournaments starting today. We'll have that for you on my Twitter at DaveSmithNBA. Don't forget to throw me a follow there. That will wrap up today's episode of Hoops Talk with Dave. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Dave Smith. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning for a full recap of all the action today, as well as a look ahead to some great action on a great Thursday night here in March. Welcome to March, everybody. Hey, 2 weeks from tomorrow is when the round of 64 begins. We are almost there, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow.